Let me play some more of this. Doc's, because Doc got the. He must have found the freaking. Let me read this. On January 4th, 2021, UK District Judge Vanessa Barretzer ruled against the United States' request to extradite Assange and stated that doing so would be oppressive. Given concerns over Assange's mental health and risk of suicide, on January 6, 2021, Assange was denied bail pending an appeal by the United States. On the 10th of December 2021, the High Court in London ruled that Assange could be extradited to the U.S. to face the charges. On March 2022, the UK Supreme Court refused Assange
Perm- permanently.
permanent,
I don't know.
and
Dot dot
this one,
dot.
he says hydraulic fracturing or fracking is a process that uses high-pressure fluid injections to shatter rock formations and extract natural gas. Fracking has been blamed for leaking millions of tons of methane, greenhouse gas, more potent than carbon dioxide. So that's what I was kind of wanted to say. I'm glad you put this because you, Pat, you was talking about drilling, and it's not really like drilling. It's very different. Um, and because they can get this sparsed out, spread out. Anyways,
Well,
it's
I mean
super
the
complex and
frac.
technical.
Yeah, the fracking process is drilling. It's just that yes, they have because my sister-in-law is a chemical engineer where she's over projects like that, and that's how I understand it the way I do. But it does have those releases. I mean, I think that, like I said, you're saying that the water sources is going to eventually be affected no matter what is maybe not as true as we think. I mean, the possibility is always there, but if the science, if they're using the proper science, we don't have just some guys just saying, "Hey, we're gonna drill here." No, I mean, it takes sampling and this and that and the other. It takes a lot of work to really get it done right, and I think that maybe that's where some of the regulations is probably getting some of the processes is getting skipped if it's getting into the water is mainly what I wanted to highlight because I don't think fracking is bad. It's just
It's bad, and the process leads to this waste. It does. It leads to this wastewater every time. That's the process. That's how it
every time.
works.
Yeah, every time, right? Every
Eh,
time.
Literally every time because that's what they use to do the process, and it's this messed up water. Let me read this. It says, not only
Okay.
is fracking bad for our climate, it risks causing air, water, and noise pollution. It uses toxic chemicals that may not be regulated well enough. An accident could mean that these chemicals leak into water supplies or cause pollution above ground. That was Doc's comment.
Is that an opinion or a fact?
That's information,
Hey,
data.
I do know this here. Hey, I got some real close friends that moved to the Permian Basin, that moved to Odessa on their property, had their well and everything set up, and when fracking was extremely high out that way, bro, they could turn their faucet on and light a match, and the water would just fucking light as it comes out the spout, out the faucet from the fracking. And the thing with fracking is they use a lot of harsh chemicals. I know because I hauled a lot of the chemicals out there. They use a shit ton of different acids and different stuff that's harmful for you to breathe in. You can't even breathe it in. I had to wear a respirator, a fresh air respirator with a tank on my back when I was unloading that shit. And I did that shit for years.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be a way that they use to try to protect, but it's harmful in a lot of ways. But they do actually use freshwater sources, Chaka. They don't use wastewater. They use freshwater sources. The wastewater that they get, they're pumping it out as they're fracking. They
That's what
pump
I'm
that
talking
water
about.
out, and they pump the wastewater out, and they take it to They take it to different waste management has several locations around the West Texas area.
They
They
can't
take
get
it and
all of
they
that
pump it.
out.
They pump it in there, and then they what they do is they recycle the water, and yeah, they recycle it, and then they yeah.
Yeah, they can't
I
get all that water out because of the process. It's way underground. And
But here's the thing: we talk about fracking, but we don't talk about how much water the fucking refineries use just right there in Houston alone. How much water they use,
yep,
all our freshwater sources, and they have to use all of these different chemicals to purify it and put it back into the damn ship channel.
yep. That's why it
But
or
stinks over
this
or
is
there.
what,
or
but this what,
or
but nah,
or
but this what people don't tell you. That water, I'm gonna tell you something. When they use that water, because I work for a refinery company, private company, the water that we get in when we purify that water and send it back into the ocean, guess what? It is the pH level, everything, the alkaline, everything of that water is way higher than what we ever get. And that's
And,
coming from the city. The city water is extremely horrible. We have to purify a lot of that water before we can even make it and put it into our process because we make medical gases for the medical industry, oxygen, nitrogen,
and they
all
can't
that
use
shit.
that shit. So, but look, when I like to go fishing at San Jacinto River, it's right there at San Jacinto Monument. Um, and you can't there's signs out there. Don't eat the fish. You know, it's poisonous.
well, I mean, you got to think too, because I mean, they're picking on fracking to, I think to send a certain message, which, hey, if we need to, do something different, hey, let's do it. But at the same time, I mean, we got to also regulate all of these plants, these chemical plants that's, doing their cleanup. I've worked in some of these places where like a lot of the stuff, like certain chemicals, pesticides, herbal, even, all different types, is getting washed right down the drain and going into a system right along with everything else. So like, we can't just pick on one and leave everybody else out here to, to still screw up the water. Like, I mean, if we're gonna end it, let's end it all together.
Related to this topic because it's the GMOs, and we got Bill Gates now this time.
Guys.
Good evening, Vice Chancellor, Dean, faculties, university staff.